We have some major updates about OG Anunoby. According to NBA insider Chris Haynes with Yahoo Sports and Bleacher Report, he reports that Anunoby will return this postseason for the Knicks. Not only that, head coach Tom Thibodeau gives us an update about Anunoby and where he is in recovery right now. We're going to break down these latest updates and so much more today. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button now. And make sure you have notifications turned on so you don't miss a second of the new content. And now, let's get started. The Knicks receive an update about OG Anunoby and when he can return for the Knicks. That has been the main question on most Knicks fans' minds right now. Where's Anunoby right now in recovery? When can he return for the Knicks? Is he going to return this postseason? What's his status right now? Well, thankfully, Chris Haynes with Yahoo Sports gives us the following update about Anunoby and when he's going to return for the Knicks. According to Chris Haynes, the target of a return date for Anunoby is possibly the Eastern Conference Finals. He's doing everything he can to try to get back as soon as possible. But from what I was told, it's looking more likely that a return for the Eastern Conference Finals, should the Knicks get there, looks like that's going to be a realistic target date for Anunoby. And according to Ian Bagley, an SNY NBA insider, he notes that Tom Thibodeau states the following: OG Anunoby is doing light work on the court in his hamstring strain rehab. Let's not forget, Game 6 is on Friday night. However, given the updates we just received about OG, it's unlikely he's going to play Game 6 for the Knicks. We have some good news and some bad news here. First of all, shout out to Chris Haynes and Ian Bagley, two great NBA insiders, for giving us the following updates about OG Anunoby. The good news about this is Anunoby is absolutely going to return. I definitely believe that the Knicks are going to close out the Pacers in 6 games. They're going to beat Indiana on Friday, head back to MSG, and get ready to face Boston. I believe that. And now that we know OG Anunoby is rehabbing, doing everything he can to return for the Knicks, and it's likely he's going to return in the Eastern Conference Finals, that gives me a lot of hope that this Knicks team is going to make the Boston series an extremely competitive matchup. But I'm not skipping any steps. I'm not skipping over Indiana. I understand the job is not done yet. We first have to take care of Indiana, and once we do that, we'll move on to Boston. And I said it before, to beat Indiana, we really don't need OG Anunoby. It would be nice to have him, but we don't need him. In order for the Knicks to beat Boston and make that a competitive series, the Knicks absolutely need OG Anunoby. And according to Chris Haynes, it looks like the Knicks are going to get their wish. They're going to get OG Anunoby back come the Eastern Conference Finals. But my question to that entire thing is, what OG Anunoby are we going to get back come the ECF? Is he going to be fully healthy? Is he going to be 70%, 80%? What type of Anunoby are we going to get back? Because in my opinion, we need a fully healthy OG Anunoby to be able to take it to Boston. If we don't have that, the Knicks really don't have a shot. That's how impactful that OG is going to be for this series once the Knicks get to Boston. But again, we have to get there. Not skipping steps. We just have to understand the road ahead. First, take care of Indy, and then we have our sights set on Boston. We're going to head over to their arena, make sure we steal a game from them, and then head back to the real Garden, MSG, the Mecca, and make sure we prove a point against the Celtics. Remember, everybody is counting out this Knicks team right now. If and when the Knicks get to the Eastern Conference Finals, nobody is going to give them a shot against Boston. But you know what? I wouldn't have it any other way. For the entire year, most of the media have counted the Knicks out, haven't spoken about them, and even when they did speak about them, only had negative things to say. So you know what? At this point in time, anything they have to say about the Knicks, I don't care. The Knicks always defy the odds. They always overcome the obstacles. And no matter what adversity is in their way, they always overcome it. That's who this team is. That's who this team has become under head coach Tom Thibodeau with their leader and superstar Jalen Brunson. He never stops and he never quits. And you know what this Knicks team does? They never stop and they never quit. they mirror what Jalen Brunson does for them. And I'm so happy that they do that, because even when people think that they're out of a game or they have no shot of winning that game, they somehow manage to come back, make it competitive, and who knows, sometimes they're able to fight back, steal that victory, steal that game, and when they do that, they build momentum and take momentum away from the other team. That's what they're going to need to do to Boston, especially when they play them in Boston. And I think the Knicks have the will to do it, especially because they're a very good road team. They've always been a very good road team ever since this season has started. And you know what? I don't think that's going to change in the postseason, especially playing against Boston. Because you know what? Even though Boston has a very good team, they do not, and I repeat, do not have an answer for Jalen Brunson. They have a lot of good players, a lot of good defenders. They're going to throw everything at Jalen. But I remember them doing that before in the regular season, and it didn't matter. Jalen cooked all of them. Now you might be saying to me, Troy, that's the regular season. Once we get to the postseason and against that type of Boston Celtics defense, it's going to be different. Maybe you're right, but you know what? Prove it to me. Let me see it first. Once I see what they can do, then maybe you have a point. But until they stop them, until somebody can show me they can consistently stop Jalen Brunson, I can't believe it, and I refuse to. But going back to OG Anunoby, as Ian Begley stated here, Tom Thibodeau mentioned that Anunoby is doing light work on the court. Now, that's a very vague update about Anunoby. It's good that he's back on the floor, but honestly, we don't know what that means. We don't know what he's doing. It's probably clear he's not taking contact, because if he was, they would have probably stated that. But still, it's still good news. It does mean that the Knicks are moving in the right direction with OG, and hopefully OG Anunoby comes back as healthy as possible against Boston in our next series. But right now against Indiana, we have to focus on the players we have available. It's likely the Knicks are going to run that same exact lineup out there that they did in Game 5. And the reasons are obvious. It led to a win, and it led to Jalen Brunson being able to go off, getting open shots, and it made the players around him better, because when he was doubled and triple teamed, he passed out of it to an open shooter on the wing or on the perimeter, and the Knicks were able to capitalize and get those points. And Isaiah Hartenstein, he was a monster on the boards. I expect him to do the exact same thing again. He admitted to everybody that he did not come out with the energy that was needed in Game 3 and Game 4 against Indiana when we were in Indiana. Going back there for Game 6, he's not going to make the same mistake again. iHeart is going to have another big game for the Knicks on the road, and if you have that game from him, along with another monster game from Jalen Brunson, and you have this Knicks team still playing that defense that we saw in Game 5, passing the ball like we saw, and making sure everybody's touching it, getting the right shots, and taking the right shots when you're open. If the Knicks are able to do all of that, they are walking out of Indy with a victory and closing out this series. I believe this Knicks team is going to do it, because all they've shown me each and every game is they will find a way to win no matter what. If it's been true in Game 5, if it's been true this entire postseason, this entire regular season, then I still believe it to be true today. The Knicks are closing out Indiana in 6, and we're going to get OG Anunoby back this postseason. It may not be the best news because we're not getting OG Anunoby back right away, but it's still good news because eventually he's coming back. And when he comes back, the team we're playing against, they better watch out, because it's going to be a nightmare for them and a dream come true for the Knicks. But what about you guys? What do you think about the following updates regarding OG Anunoby and when he can return for the Knicks, which is looking likely the Eastern Conference Finals? Let me know in the comments below, guys, because honestly, I would love to hear from you. But that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below, and of course, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knicks fans. Peace.